Mhm. Yeah,
I'm here.
good to see you back. So, Olga is joining, Oksana is here, admitting Julia. So now look at the statements and again, think, how far would you agree with them? Or maybe you would disagree. Now in your group, discuss the statements. Oksana, could you take the first one?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the first one, that the most common type of feedback is corrective feedback. Because we, as teachers, try to correct not to remember his mistake in his speech, and he should learn how to do it correctly and so on, as for me. And I think for most of teachers. What do you think? And number two is close to number one, because it's really that learners just expect when a teacher says a correct answer, and they don't have to think it over and to find his own mistake and to look through the material again and so on. That's my point of view. Julia, what about you?
Well, I would like to, so you have already mentioned statements number one and statement number two. So I will start with statement number three. I fully agree with this statement, the last statement, that the learners may benefit from feedback on their use or speaking strategies. So they could benefit more than when they get or only written corrections without any explanations what was wrong with their written work. So oral feedback is better. It's rather better than just dry written correction, and that's all, without any explanations. So that's my point of view.
So what we've just talked about is that there is corrective feedback and non-corrective feedback, right? And sometimes in the classroom, so we do overuse, corrective feedback, which is actually, the student may expect it because we as teachers use it, so, and they get used to it, but it turns out that it's not the only one way to go, and sometimes, so, and in many cases, learners may benefit more from other things. And what are these other things? So this section will be about it. We will look at it. But before, these are two tasks. Imagine that you are teachers who are going to give feedback, and you need to decide on feedback for speaking, a role play level B1, yeah, activity, and writing a narrative, the same level B1 writing task. What kind of feedback you may give, maybe where your focus will be with every task. Think a little bit about number 1, role play. Michael, any suggestions here?
Well, we probably should be emblematic of
Just
the
imagine.
language of
Yeah, your students are doing this role play, yeah? After this role play is done, what would you say?
the language that had been used. For example, the role play is set up as a real practice task, and you can give them a peer check for learners to notice while the role play how many of the words had been used.
So your focus will be language, right? Any more ideas?
I agree with Michael. It's target language, I think.
For freer practice, yeah?
Yeah, right.
And fluency can be also.
As
if it's a speaking task.
Fluency, yeah, good. Role play.
Okay. Could I add something?
Sure.
Okay. So as for me, I think that teacher can correct some mistakes in pronunciation, so phonological mistakes, which could occur in such role play.
Yeah. Olga, might there be anything different? No, they've all been talking about corrective, yeah, mostly corrective feedback.
It means you can use non-corrective feedback. It's all what I can say.
Yes, it is.
Non-corrective.
Yeah, so, and what might it be?
Just to understand the meanings.
Yes, exactly. So are they doing the relevant task, yeah? Task achievement here, for example, good. The way they perform, yeah, to praise them. So they might be done a lot of mistakes, but they've done nice role play, yeah? And so your feedback would be a little bit different depending on your focus. Yeah, good.
Great actors.
So let's look at the second, writing a narrative. So before I give you feedback on it. Any ideas here?
The corrective feedback is to correct all their mistakes here
And
in writing.
Do you need to correct all?
Yes, and non-corrective feedback when you correct only the mistakes which in this theme, this topic, what you teach now, you correct only these mistakes.
That makes a difference, right? So just imagine that you have a student who has problems with spelling, and so that means you need to correct all spelling mistakes, and so the topic you teach, yeah, so that would be probably too much. That would be very discouraging. You probably need to neglect some spelling things, right? But have a clear focus on what you're teaching. What else could be said, Oksana? Julia?
So a teacher should be attentive to the grammatical and stylistic mistakes. And he or she should give corrective feedback in that way, just to show inaccuracy or in grammar or style, but do it in a very positive way.
Mhm. All right, so let's have a look. Actually, there might be different things to consider. Yeah, and here I just pick up the focuses, examples of the range of areas for which feedback could be given on a typical speaking or writing task. So you mentioned some of them: fluency, yeah, for role play, definitely. In an interactive communication, so because role play involves a lot of turn taking, yeah, so that is interactive communication. So the questions you may so consider when you give this task so to your students: does the speaker speak fluently and coherently without too much hesitation or repetition, right? This is about fluency. Does the speaker maintain the conversation through the appropriate turn taking? This is interaction, how he or she interacts, initiating and responding the utterance, right? Use the variety of speaking strategies. And this is sometimes is even more important than language, right? And it's a high order skill already. But it can be done with low level as well. Does the speaker make use of a range of discourse markers? How coherent the speech, yeah? So if they use like so, moreover, also, yeah, so this one, for example, this one, discourse markers of addition, but do they use different functions like contrast, reason, result? Yeah, and before that, you probably taught, you have this focus in your lesson, and then you check on discourse markers. Yeah, and the second block that you have mentioned, yeah, Julia said about pronunciation, Oksana mentioned vocabulary, so yeah, grammar. So this is what you said. As for writing, a lot of things. Again, content and communicative achievement. If someone is teaching for Russian state exams, so you probably know that if a student gets 0 point for communicative achievement, it's no matter. So if organization is fine, as language is fine, it will be 0 for all, yeah? And the same is true for other exams. That's why should we correct on the mistakes? We need to focus on what the student is writing, yeah? Is the story interesting? Does the story hold the reader's attention? That's also a good point to consider. And actually, your students are expecting you to read it first, because the student is not writing it for mistakes or for language, yeah? So he or she is writing for message. So this is the main purpose. Organization, nice, clear, readable. I really recommend you to focus on readability. So if you just read the work and it's easy to read, it's clear, that's really nice. But if you like bog down, if you always need to reread, you need to think about it and so give a feedback on it. Sequence, yeah, could be clear, at the beginning, middle, the end. And again, language. But I won't tell you about language because you know everything in this point. At this point, you will focus. Appropriacy of tenses, error, and it's not. I just want to ask you, so do you use correction code with your students? Do you?
No.
Who uses correction code?
Well, I use, but just when I correct some works from Olympic works.
So, Olga, would you like to use?
Maybe, why not?
How can it improve your feedback? Why might it be good to use it?
It makes shorter.
So when you annotate,
And
good.
yes, when I annotate, and um, my students have to understand what this means. G, grammar, T, tense. They have to think a little bit more
Yes.
by themselves
So you classify
to
it.
improve.
Yeah. So and they know already the area. Okay, it's SP spelling, right? So you just not a highlight only, but they know already the area. Something wrong with spelling. Missing word choice, word order. This is very common, yeah, for young learners. Wrong word, maybe, correct. So you can elaborate your own, add something, and your students will actually love it. So they love it. You don't need a lot of red pen and a lot of writing, only one, and they're already thinking and redrafting it. Yeah. So I really recommend. So this one.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. And now task for you. Read 1 and read 6.
Oh my God, utterance, utterance.
It's a kind of statement.
Yeah. So it's exactly what
Hmm.
it's spoken language, techniques for feedback on spoken language. The teacher says that they do not understand the learner's sort of speech, yeah, so saying. This one is indirect, right? Doesn't understand. The teacher gives a short explanation of why an error needs to be corrected and provides the correct form. If the teacher gives the explanation, the feedback is direct. Right. Now I would like you to put first on your own the missing A, B, C, D into 2, 3, 4, 5 according to degree of directedness. So starting from indirect and moving to direct. Yeah, I give you 2 minutes. Are you working on your own?
Yes, we are going to work.
You're working on your own. Do you need to put them in order of directedness? These statements A, B, C, D, right?
Right. So,
So
just
you
give us just some time.
yes, I give you time, 2 minutes exactly. So 30 seconds to finish, and then put your answers on your Zoom chat. So you write 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. Put your answers on the Zoom chat. Julia, okay. Now you compare your answers and see that you have all maybe similar or different answers, right? Actually, I see that Julia and Oksana, so yeah. you guys, girls, have the same answers, but slightly different to Michael. But you all think that D is the second, right? That is less direct out of all.
Is it correct? D.
But yeah, let's check. But for C, yeah, you have absolutely different feelings. So the teacher gives a short clue to the way an error needs to be corrected. Olga, what would you say? For C, is it closer to direct or indirect?
Direct,
Short clue. Past tense?
but maybe not direct. Past. No, not past tense article. Maybe closer to indirect.
Closer to indirect. So let me show you. Yeah. Now you may compare. The teacher uses rising intonation. So this is D, right? So you're all correct. Actually, anyone in your practice, so do you use it? Rising intonation, repeating the phrase and stress where
Yes, of course, very often.
Always.
Always, that's good. So the teacher repeats the beginning of the phrase. That is A. Yes, Oksana, you had this. Then comes, the teacher gives a short clue, and the teacher provides the corrected form and stress. This is the most direct, right? Well done. So which of these techniques do you actually use? On spoken language. Do you think you are more direct or more indirect?
Indirect.
Indirect. So that means that you use what kind of techniques?
For example, the fourth one.
Which one?
Number 4.
This one. This one.
No, number 4.
So can you look at this 1, 2, 3, 4? This one, yeah? Not this one, sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying number 4.
Sorry, Michael, this is you. So you use sort of elicitation, yeah? Good.
Yeah, like positive or negative, and so on.
Julia, in your practice, what do you use?
Well, in my practice,
Let's see where you
I
are.
repeat the beginning of the phrase which contained arrow but stops before the arrow in order to elicit the correction.
Mm.
And for example, rising intonation. I use rising intonation.
Mm. Okay, so Olga?
The same, I think, like Julia.
Oh, okay. No one gives the short explanation, yeah? No one corrects directly.
Yeah,
I think it's it is at some extent we do different things, right? So it's some like it could be direct and could be indirect, yeah. But it's more important to understand so with whom we can be direct and with whom less direct, yeah. So what kind of feedback is should be given for this particular situation, for this particular aim, or for this particular student. So it's good to know that you have a range and you may apply it for particular context. All right, that's nice. So you also have the same things for written. For now, I also would like you to take a minute and read it. So look through and tell me which of them do you use more and would you like to use more?
As for me, I use, I underline the mistakes, the errors, but no further information. And I write arrow code, SP, word order, and grammar, GR. That's it.
Anyone else? Olga, how about you?
I would like to use these codes. I've never used it before. And I also underline mistakes and I explain every time what it means. A correction is provided, I think, this.
So from less direct effect, yeah, so also range. Julia, how about you?
Oh, well,
Your context is a little bit different.
I use, so in my practice, I use correction errors, which are accompanied by arrow codes.
Okay.
And I would like to use probably I would like to use number 3, a mark in the margin accompanied by an arrow code indicates that there is an arrow or particular kind in particular line of text.
Okay, thank you. So now I give you actually an opportunity to give a feedback to a student. So this student will give an answer I would say I will give you a little bit of information. This is a teenager, so preparing for a Russian state exam. So this is his first try. He never done any task like that. And I will let you watch this student. So before this, take a minute and read the task. He will be speaking. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This one is. Do you? Are you ready to watch? So you watch, and then each of you will give a short feedback. You may have different focus, absolutely different, whatever you like. So this is also a nice application, Flipgrid. Yeah, you probably heard of it. So you may ask your students to record themselves, and especially if they are preparing for exams, so they may record themselves. And I don't know, this one is. Let's try.
So today we will discuss about two topics about the online shopping and offline shopping, what the advantages and disadvantages. And about the online shopping, I can say what disadvantages is one thing what you can't try on the clothes. So it can be bad because you don't, maybe it's not fit you. And the advantages of online shopping is what you can lay on your bed and just don't tire it of walking in shops, don't spend too much time on that. So it's like, it's good. About offline shopping is different. Like advantages is just because you can touch the material, you can understand do you like that clothes or not. Also, you can try on, so it's good. Also, the disadvantages is just because you will tired of walking all day around the shop. And also the advantages, if we will back to online shopping, advantages is because online you get more sizing range than offline. So my opinion, what for some clothes I will choose online shopping and what I want to try.
Okay, I stop. So in your group, so exchange your thoughts and share what kind of feedbacks would you give to this guy.
Can you show the task, please, Olga?
Yes, that is what I want to do. Exactly.
The good thing is that there was no hesitation, and that there was a coherent speech.
Yeah, I agree with you, Michael.
And he said everything what they need from him here.
So I'd like to say that this fellow did, he achieved a communicative goal.
Right.
That's fine. That's the main thing. But I have admitted that there were not so many linking phrases, just linking phrases. I would like to provide such oral speech with linking phrases from my point of view.
Yeah, maybe more versatile speech. More synonyms. Not just also, because, and
good.
and good.
All right. Actually, he's a really good guy, yeah, but very positive. Yeah, provides, but his language should be improved. It's not appropriate, yeah, up to this level. You mentioned that, so communicative achievement, yes, his speech was relevant to the topic, yeah. He talked about the topic, yes. He did not hesitate, and he tried to not to show that, so he has lack of vocabulary knowledge, filling in with like sort of meaningful stuff, yeah. Sometimes it was not clear what he was talking about, although on the topic, around the topic. If you don't know English, so he produces the impression that that everything is fine, but when you start listening to him more attentively, so there are a lot of things like cohesion, so developmental things, yeah. So you probably know this in assessing speaking performance. This is although not for Russian state exam, but for Cambridge exams, yeah? And again, these are the focuses. So we assess our students. Grammar, discourse management, pronunciation, interactive communication. They're absolutely different for different exams. So in case you're preparing your students for some exams, make them familiar with the focus. Even young learners have exams, right? Cambridge exams, and so that you may look at this for you to assess better, to be better helper. So look at different check-in lists. For example, you may write, does the speaker use simple grammatical forms with control? And you sort of mark yes, no, and it will help you. And you, when you listen to your student, you mark, you write down exactly what the person says. I like relaxing, simple. So not so good. What is not so good? Put it down, yeah, and provide this, so feedback, more detailed, because in this case, the learner will know what exactly he or she needs to improve, yeah. Okay, we have something to reflect on. So I will put it on our Telegram, these questions for reflection.